KPMG have cut graduate intake by around 30%, Deloitte by about 22%, EY by 11%. And I think there were some like leaked internal documents that showed PwC has plans to cut entry-level hiring by almost a third over the next couple of years. And so, yeah, I mean, what do you think? Is it like a temporary recalibration, or is it the beginning of something more permanent in relation to the junior workforce?
Yeah, so I think there's two things that I would think about here. First, and these are sort of unanswered questions as of today, so I think it's important to hold them somewhat lightly. The first idea that I would think about is AI better for experts? It makes experts 10 times more powerful while everybody else kind of stays the same, or is it better at lifting the floor for people who don't have the level of experience and judgment and expertise that the more senior partners at an organization like this would have? So if it's better for experts, if your experts are getting so much more leverage from AI, then yes, I think in the long term, you'll see these big accounting firms, the nature of the way that their firms are structured will change, because historically, David Meister managing the professional services firm, the thing that you talked about was how to get leverage on your junior people. Like, you hired a bunch of smart junior people, and then you wanted to maximize the amount of work that those junior people took on, because the more junior people that a senior partner could oversee effectively to deliver high quality work to clients, ultimately the larger the profit margin for the firm. You want your lowest price people doing the highest amount of work. So if those experts are becoming super experts and they can now manage a bunch of AI agents to do the work rather than managing a bunch of junior people, then those junior roles are going to get squashed. But if AI is actually just lifting the floor for more humans to do more, or for the same number of humans to do more work, without having gotten that expertise thus far, then actually what you're going to see is just that one-time recalibration, where right now they're figuring out what that ratio looks like, what they're reorienting their processes to consider how work looks in the future now that this new capability exists. Once they figure out that they need juniors, and that those juniors actually can get as much or more leverage than experts can get, then they'll go back to hiring highly intelligent, AI capable people directly out of college or directly out of whatever graduate program. And so my view is that it's a combination. So, we're looking at more of a one-time reset. The other lens that I would use to understand this is like the value chain, a professional services firm, like an audit firm. So it starts with origination. Like, can you find the clients? Then it's like analysis and production. Can you consume the documents they provide to you? Can you produce the documents that they need to get back? Then there's some degree of judgment and synthesis that comes after that. And then there's like a relationship / trust / sign off phase. So what AI does is it compresses the analysis and production portion of this value chain. It does not change the nature of the origination, the judgment and synthesis, or the relationship and trust / sign off portion of this value chain. So, if your model of the world is juniors do analysis and production, senior partners do everything else, then obviously you would think to yourself, well, we're going to need fewer juniors. But also, like, the value is going to concentrate at the ends. So we should be rather than hiring 10 new juniors, we should hire one super partner who's going to be able to do better origination, better judgment, and better, trust and sign off processes. But so, like, I think in the short term, that makes sense as a response to what they're seeing on the ground as the likely impact of AI. But I think what's actually happening is that this oversimplified view of the value chain neglects the fact that as AI produces more in the analysis and production phase, there needs to be even more work in the judgment and synthesis phase in order to verify and account for what's happened in analysis and production. And so I just think that the nature of the junior roles is going to change to something that is more verification and synthesis oriented and less analysis and production oriented. And the job of the seniors is going to be to impart the knowledge for judgment and synthesis to the juniors rather than expecting that they're just going to be able to do the procedural stuff that they might have been able to do right out of their graduate programs.